Hey everyone. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to talk to you guys about fixing Tomorrowland. Now, Tomorrowland's been a real sticking point for Disneyland Park really since the beginning. It's really been a problem area. Now, I think there's two things that need to be done to fix Tomorrowland. First thing, we got to get kinetic energy back into that land. There was a time when we had the people mover, the monorail, the skyway, the submarines, everything was moving. That's Tomorrowland, okay? We need to get back to that type of energy in that whole area, right? So that's number one. Number two, we gotta stop redressing and repainting the old 1960s Tomorrowland buildings. Aside from Space Mountain, we gotta really just bulldoze the whole land and start fresh. So let me dive in a little bit on each of these topics and kind of go a little further in regards to my opinion on these things. Now, let's start off with kinetic energy. Ever since we got rid of the people mover and then the short-lived rocket rods, Tomorrowland has really lacked in this area. We don't have a skyway. We have a rotting people mover track above. There's next to zero kinetic energy in this land, maybe aside from that Observatron, weird satellite dish thing, and the Astro orbiter in the front of the land. We got to do better than that. Okay, this is Tomorrowland we're talking about. It needs to be on the move. So my suggestion to add a lot of kinetic energy would be simple. Let's add the Tron Coaster from Shanghai to Tomorrowland. Okay, now people constantly say, well, that ride is too big. It wouldn't fit in our Tomorrowland. Yeah, you're right. I mean, if you were to take it exactly as it is in Shanghai and plop it down in Disneyland, it wouldn't fit. But Disney can readjust that. I mean, they readjusted the Tower of Terror when they put it out here in Anaheim. They can readjust the Shanghai coaster. So obviously, we have a huge building in the back of Tomorrowland, Innovations, which is a complete waste of space. They can either bulldoze that or repurpose it to be the show building for Tron. The light cycles, the coaster section of the attraction, could crisscross and go over all of Tomorrowland. It would add a ton of kinetic energy, a ton of life to that area. It would look so cool, especially at night. Can you imagine those light cycles going over your head? And it's just all over the place. You just see, these light cycles crisscrossing each other and going all over Tomorrowland. It would add so much to that land in terms of kinetic energy. That would be an easy fix for that problem. And I really think Disney should consider that. The only issue that might be kind of holding that back and preventing that is that there's a strong possibility. There's a lot of rumors right now, nothing confirmed, but there's a strong possibility that we're going to be getting that coaster, the Tron Coaster, here in Anaheim, but themed to Captain America and put at California Adventure. So I don't know if that's going to put a damper on the chances or the probability of getting Tron in Tomorrowland or not, but that attraction needs to go in Tomorrowland. It would be a perfect fit. So that's number one. Number two, we need to stop redressing the 1960s buildings. Okay, New Tomorrowland was an abysmal failure. And all it did was paint everything brown and gold. Okay, it was horrible. Since then, now we just painted everything silver and blue. Yeah, it looks nicer, but we're just redressing and repainting those same buildings over and over again. This is Tomorrowland, you guys. Okay, Tomorrowland. We need to start, embracing, change here. We cannot be yesterday land. Okay, so what I would suggest, like I said earlier in my video, bulldoze just about everything except for Space Mountain. Okay, bulldoze the land. All new buildings, all new infrastructure. Even if you have to change the layout of Tomorrowland, do it. Anything that can kind of make this area feel new again, okay? We need to start innovating again in Tomorrowland. We need to start building things that are different, that are exciting, that give us promise for the future, okay? And repainting old buildings over and over again does not inspire much optimism for the future. It's actually pretty depressing. So they need to do that. Now, another thing I wanted to address with Tomorrowland. I know a lot of people are upset because Star Wars, is franchise. It's getting its own land at Disneyland, and people are equally as upset with Marvel getting a land over at California Adventure, due to theme, concerns and what have you. And those are legitimate gripes, okay, and I understand that. But if there's one silver lining in regards to Marvel and Star Wars getting their own lands, the one silver lining is that Tomorrowland now is free. Because if Star Wars Land wasn't going to happen and if Marvel Land wasn't going to happen, what would have happened to Tomorrowland? It would have been a dumping ground for all the new Star Wars stuff and all the new Marvel stuff. So now with those two IPs getting their own lands, Disney can really focus on Tomorrowland and bringing different experiences into this land. Okay? Now, I also think big franchises, especially Star Wars, really would have distracted and taken away from the Tomorrowland theme. It would have become a Star Wars land, and I wouldn't want to see that. So I'm glad that it's its own separate thing now, and Tomorrowland can be Tomorrowland. Okay, because I think Star Wars is such a massive franchise that wherever it's going to be, especially if you're going to have like an e-ticket or anything like that, it's really going to like dominate that land. So it's really a silver lining, a blessing that that these attractions are not going in Tomorrowland. It gives the Imagineers some freedom to explore maybe different IPs, different movies, different concepts, maybe something that's not tied to a movie. God forbid, right? But they can do various things now. They don't have to do Star Wars and Marvel, okay? So that's really a positive thing. So those are my, basically those are my thoughts on revitalizing Tomorrowland. And just to recap, we got to get the kinetic energy back into Tomorrowland. We got to bulldoze those old 1960-something buildings, start fresh. Let's have some new architecture, some new layouts. Let's really make Tomorrowland new again, right? And the third thing is just, I'm really glad that Star Wars and Marvel now have their own lands, and the Imagineers can actually go in there and try different things with new properties and maybe even some original stuff. So those are my thoughts on fixing Tomorrowland. Comment below, what are your thoughts? How do you think they should fix Tomorrowland? I mean, do you agree with my opinions? Do you think that maybe I'm wrong? Do you think the Tron Coaster is not a good fit for Tomorrowland? What are your thoughts? Comment below. I appreciate all your support, and I do content on Disney all the time. Like, subscribe, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.